What a Monday Night Football game here in.
Saying to yourself, the whole Kansas City is back. We just didn't know that it was a new Jaguar.
Well, and I asked Trevor about this. Was this intentional, using your legs? Here he climbs the pocket, and this is just the athleticism and brilliance.
Hey, listen, this is why you make a trade to get to number 2 to draft this kid, because he has athleticism that's off the lot of this.
Quite a dub for the home team. Patrick Mahomes on a 2-3 start for the Chiefs this year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it sucks. You know, you let a game slip away. Credit to them. They played hard, and they played hard the entire game, and they got a lot of good football players. And they closed out there at the end, and so it still sucks whenever you get a lead like that and you're not able to hold it through the rest of the game. Yeah, I mean, they just got me with the coverage that they played. They had played zero kind of inside that 10-yard area in previous games, and they hadn't shown the poppers with the linebackers popping out when they were protected. And I think back to a game against Cincinnati early in the year that they hit Jamar Chase kind of on a slant route, and so I saw the look and I checked to the play with the in routes, having 3 ends, knowing that they're going to try to pass off the guys, and Juju was going to pop wide open, and he did. But credit to, I mean, they schemed themselves, and they kind of looked over what they could do better, and they popped right underneath where I was throwing the ball. And so it was a great call by them defensively, and obviously a great play by Zero, getting the pick. And then I got to find a way to tackle him or slow him down after he gets the interception.
That's like the biggest mistake, Patrick. Just how much of it is going to nag you guys when you look back and the amount of penalties you had that sort of stopped your momentum at times?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of just talks about our whole entire season. I mean, I feel like we have the guys, and we've executed at certain points in the game and looked really good, and then we crush ourselves with penalties and mistakes and interceptions and fumbles or whatever that is. I mean, it's just we've kind of done that to ourselves all year long. It's kind of been one guy here and there, and in this league, it's so close that those change games, and so we got to be better. You know, we've lost too many games already, and so we got to find a way to be better as a team and come together and play better throughout the rest of the season.
I think that's a very candid and accurate assessment of the situation at the moment, as it always is from Patrick Mahomes. They weren't clean. They turned it over. 13 penalties. They conspire in their own demise. The pick was an amazing sort of cat and mouse game. Is that what we start with on here? Because I'd love for you to explain what it is when you the disguised pressure, or actually no, it's not pressure. I'm going to drop into coverage.
Yeah, so what they're going to see here, right? They're going to be on the back end. They're going to be in man-to-man. So what he said he checked to was we're going to get a clear out by Thornton, and we're going to get double ends by Juju and also by Travis Kelce. But who makes this play is Devin Lloyd. Now, you see Devin Lloyd here. He's lined up at the linebacker position. He's going to rush into the line. He's going to first engage with one of the linemen. Then he pops out underneath, and Patrick Mahomes never sees him. So as we watch the play develop, you're going to see everything that Patrick Mahomes wanted, he got. Juju's wide open, but Devin Lloyd popping out from the line of scrimmage, catches the football, makes a move on Patrick Mahomes, and here's the fun part. This dude ain't ran this far with people chasing him since he's been a full-grown adult. And you got a dude behind you that's running 4-2. He gets it to the end zone, doesn't drop the ball before because we're defensive players and we're smart. Now, this play is all about Trevor Lawrence. You already talked about it. There were scrambles, there were big throws, and now you're on the goal line after the pass interference. When he snaps this football and falls, I cannot imagine the panic that is in his heart and the way his stomach has fell into his butt. Now, this is what you want to see.
Listen, man, I'm just going to say it straight because that's what we do. We don't sugarcoat. We don't hedge. We call it like we see it. And what I saw on Sunday, what I saw in Week 5, was a Jacksonville Jaguars team that walked into a heavyweight fight with the supposed dynasty of the NFL, looked Patrick Mahomes dead in the eye, took a punch, smiled, and punched back even harder. And at the same time, I saw a Kansas City Chiefs team that looked like it was still living off old rings, off old highlight reels, off that 15 and 87 connection like it was 2020 again. And brother, that ain't it. Because football doesn't care what you did last season, it cares what you do now. And right now, the Chiefs look like a team that's been reading their own press clippings while Trevor Lawrence and them boys down in Duval are out here grinding, learning how to win the ugly way, the tough way, the championship way. You can't call yourself a real contender when every time the game gets dirty, every time adversity hits, you blink, you cough up the ball, you forget your assignments, you give up a 99-yard pick six to a linebacker who's been sitting on that route since Wednesday's film session. And that's exactly what happened. Devin Lloyd jumped that pass like he'd seen it in a dream, took it coast to coast, and you could feel the air go out of Arrowhead, or wherever you want to call home for a team that's supposed to be built on discipline and greatness. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Championship teams aren't built on slogans and highlight tapes. They're built on accountability. They're built on hunger. And what we saw was hunger on one sideline and complacency on the other. Trevor Lawrence didn't just outplay Patrick Mahomes statistically. He outpoised him. He outcommanded him. He controlled the tempo of the game like a veteran who's been there 10 years. And he did it against a defense that still has names, still has pride, but doesn't scare anybody right now. And that's the truth. When you see a young quarterback stumble on a bad snap, almost fall, almost lose the moment, and then get back up, reset his feet, and throw a touchdown to win the game with 23 seconds left, you're looking at something special. You're looking at leadership. You're looking at that it factor that separates guys who just play quarterback from guys who change franchises. The Jaguars have been through the mud. Man, they've been through bad coaches, bad rosters, bad luck, and yet they've come out of it with a core that's built to last. Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Christian Kirk, that defense flying around with Josh Allen and Lloyd making plays, and most importantly, Doug Peterson setting the tone that winning is expected, not hoped for. That's what legitimacy looks like. Meanwhile, the Chiefs keep showing cracks, and you can call me a hater all you want. You can talk about rings and parades, but you can't talk about execution. You can't talk about discipline, because that's gone missing. Patrick Mahomes is the most talented quarterback in the league, maybe ever. But right now he's pressing. He's trying to make magic when all he needs to do is make a play, and there's a difference. Magic wins you highlights. Execution wins you games. And when you look at that offense, receivers dropping balls, routes being run at half speed, protection collapsing at the worst moments, it's hard not to call it what it is. A mess dressed up in nostalgia. You can't keep pretending it's 2022 when defenses have adjusted. When teams know if they bracket Travis Kelce and make Mahomes play small ball, they've got a chance. And Jacksonville proved that by staying patient, by not blitzing out of desperation, by forcing Mahomes to go underneath until he got frustrated and forced the pick that changed the game. That's smart football. That's coaching. That's culture. And that's what separates a team that's hungry from a team that's comfortable. I've been in locker rooms. Man, I've seen it. Once you start believing your own legend, you stop doing the little things that made you legendary. You stop chasing. The Chiefs used to chase perfection. Now they're chasing ghosts. The Jaguars? They're chasing greatness. They're not there yet, but they're on the way, and that's why I said what I said. They're legit, because legitimacy isn't about banners, it's about belief. And when Trevor Lawrence jogged off that field after the go-ahead touchdown, you could see it in his eyes. This team believes they can beat anybody, anywhere, anytime. That's what Kansas City used to have, and maybe they'll find it again, but right now it's gone. And until they get it back, they're not a real contender. They're a name brand living off reputation, and reputations don't win in October. The NFL is a week-to-week league, and this week belonged to Duval. And let me tell you something else, because I know how this goes. Every time you call out a team like Kansas City, every time you dare to suggest that the mighty Chiefs might have some flaws, You get a flood of people yelling about how Mahomes is still Mahomes, Andy Reid is still Andy Reid, and the rings still shine just as bright. But that's not the argument. That's not what I'm saying. And that's not what this game was about. Because no one's taking away the history. No one's pretending they didn't build something incredible. But dynasties don't stay dynasties by living in the past. They stay dynasties by evolving, by adapting, and right now, this Kansas City offense looks stuck between eras, like it's not sure whether to trust the young receivers or just hope Travis Kelce keeps beating double teams forever. And that indecision bleeds into everything. The play calling, the tempo, even the swagger. You can feel it on the sideline. It's like they're waiting for someone to bail them out instead of imposing their will. Meanwhile, Jacksonville is the opposite. Young, fast, aggressive, and playing like they've got nothing to lose, which is exactly what makes them dangerous, because confidence without complacency is lethal. Trevor Lawrence is playing like a dude who finally realized he doesn't have to prove he belongs. He knows he belongs, and that freedom, that calm under pressure, is what makes him so hard to rattle. You can throw him a bad snap, you can